Welcome to the Explainer. If you're diving into Indiana's private car market, you're going to need one absolutely crucial skill: legally transferring a car title. Whether you're a first-time buyer or you're just dreading those bureaucratic hurdles, you are in the exact right place. Let's jump right in. Picture this for a second. You just handed over a stack of hard-earned cash to a private seller. They hand you the keys, and you drive off feeling fantastic. But wait. That car is not legally yours yet, and honestly, the clock is ticking. If you don't navigate the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles, or BMV, correctly and on time, you could be facing administrative penalties, hidden fees, or even realize you bought a car you literally can't legally drive. The stakes here are super high, but don't worry, we're going to break the whole shebang down for you step by step. Now, just a quick legal note before we really get going. This explainer provides general information based on Indiana state regulations. Always consult with local authorities, the BMV, or legal professionals for specific advice related to your unique situation. Okay, let's go back to it. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the exact journey we're taking today. 1. Understanding title transfer. 2. Preparation before buying. 3. Step-by-step transfer process. 4. Mistakes and special circumstances. 5. Taxes, fees, and penalties. And finally, 6. Finalizing the process. Section 1. Understanding title transfer. The ticking clock. So what actually is a certificate of title? Well, it's the foundational legal document proving vehicle ownership in the state of Indiana. It is absolutely required for registration and for establishing legal liability. You know, in a private sale, unlike at a dealership where they handle all the paperwork for you, the entire administrative burden shifts directly to you, the buyer. If this title isn't properly transferred, you do not legally own the car. That means if the seller has an unpaid loan on it or if there's a title dispute, you are on the hook. And here is the magic number you really need to remember: 45. In Indiana, buyers only have 45 days from the purchase date to transfer the title at the BMV. Miss this statutory window and you trigger mandatory administrative penalties. The clock literally starts the very moment you make the purchase, so you really can't afford to drag your feet here. Section 2. Preparation before buying. Gathering your documents. Missing just one of these items is a guaranteed way to get sent right back to the end of the line at the BMV. Both the buyer and the seller need to prepare before the transaction is even finalized. You absolutely need the fully executed original title. You're also going to need an unexpired government-issued photo ID. Now, if the physical title isn't fully filled out with the purchase details, you must have a separate bill of sale. Don't forget the odometer disclosure statement, that's State Form 43230, which verifies the mileage. And finally, if you're new to the state or just updating your license records, you'll need proof of Indiana residency. While you're looking over these documents, make sure you verify ownership and ensure there are absolutely no active liens on the car that haven't been officially released. This is a vital legal requirement right from the Indiana Administrative Code. It dictates that the seller must properly assign the certificate of ownership to the purchaser. Basically, the seller has to physically fill out the title to verify ownership and avoid fraud. If they skip a signature or just leave a section blank, you can't transfer the title. So verify that everything matches perfectly before you hand over a single dollar. Section 3. Step-by-step transfer process. Navigating the BMV. Let's walk through the actual steps. Step 1. Obtain and sign the physical title from the seller. And again, double-check those signatures. Step 2. Complete State Form 205. That's the application for certificate of title. This is really the foundational document for the whole process, where you provide all the vehicle's unique identification details. And Step 3. Submit all your forms, your ID, and pay the required fees at an Indiana BMV branch. Even though a lot of government services are online these days, a private sale title transfer almost always requires an in-person visit to process that physical paper title. Section 4. Mistakes and special circumstances. The out-of-state case study. Let's compare two common scenarios. An in-state purchase is usually a standard paper title transfer. It's a relatively straightforward process. But an out-of-state purchase, that's a different story. That requires a mandatory physical VIN inspection before an Indiana title can be issued. This is just to ensure that the physical identification number on the car's frame or dashboard matches the out-of-state paperwork perfectly. You can get this done right at a BMV branch or by a law enforcement officer who will fill out State Form 39530 and might charge a maximum fee of $5. Let's bring this bureaucratic process to life with a quick hypothetical timeline. Say it's day 1. You purchase an out-of-state car, but wait, it has an active lien. The out-of-state bank actually holds the physical title. Well, by day 5, you have to visit the Indiana BMV to file a request for title, which is Form 1014. The BMV then mails this over to the bank. Fast forward to day 20, the BMV finally receives the paper or electronic lien release from that out-of-state bank. By day 25, the BMV notifies you, and you return to the branch to finalize the title. As you can tell, this takes some serious time, which is exactly why starting the process early, well within that 45-day window, is absolutely crucial. Section 5. Taxes, fees, and penalties, the financial toll. And this brilliantly illustrates why doing this on time really matters financially.
Let's break down the standard fees you're going to encounter. The standard title fee is a very reasonable $15. But take a look at those administrative penalties. If you miss that 45-day window, you get hit with a $30 delinquent title penalty and a $15 delinquent registration fee. That is $45 in completely avoidable late fees. Then, of course, you've got the base registration fee, which ranges from around $21 to $50 or more, depending on the class of the vehicle.
Here's another number you definitely need to keep in mind: 7. In Indiana, the buyer is responsible for a 7% vehicle sales tax. The absolutely key point here is that you do not pay this to the private seller at the time of the sale. You pay this directly to the state when you register and title the vehicle at the BMV. So to put that into perspective, if you buy a $10,000 car from your neighbor, you better be prepared to pay $700 to the BMV before you can legally drive it. Now, on top of the sales tax, you also have to pay the vehicle excise tax. This is an annual tax required to register a vehicle, and it's calculated based on the car's age and its original retail value. For example, a car with an original retail value of $37,000 costs $469 to register when it's brand new, but that drops to just $63 when it's 8 years old. You definitely want to make sure you factor this annual cost into your budget when you're negotiating a price with the seller. Section 6. Finalizing the process. Hitting the road. So, to actually get your license plates and legally drive the car under your own name, you just have a few final requirements to check off. First, you have to provide proof of financial responsibility, which just means you need to have active car insurance. Second, pay your annual vehicle excise tax and registration fees that we just went over. Third, obtain your standard or specialty license plates. And finally, if you happen to live in Lake or Porter counties, you're going to need to secure emissions testing. So, you have the title transferred, the insurance in hand, and the plates bolted on. Are you ready to safely and legally hit the Indiana roads? You know, as we move toward an increasingly digital world, it kind of makes you wonder, how much longer will we rely on physical paper titles and long BMV lines for such a massive transaction? But until that system changes, you're now armed with the exact knowledge to conquer it with confidence. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and enjoy the ride.